Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Alex Wong, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be exposing my entire funnel in the exact way that we have fundamentally set up inside of Dulce, our omni-channel outreach. For those of you who aren't aware of what that exactly is, it's the way that I've built a outreach system that is unified: cold email, LinkedIn, voice AI, SMS, and direct mail in one fluid, unified, functioning system. So without further doing it, let's get right into the video. So as I mentioned, I'll be showcasing how we've used this exact outreach strategy and system to build a $600,000 a year agency on pace for $1 million. And again, this isn't theory or what I think will be working in the future, what I'm planning to do. This is something that is already built out in the exact system we've used to scale the pipelines of our clients, boost response rates, and effectively turn cold prospects into real revenue across dozens of industries and clients. Now, first things first, let's talk about why single channel outreach isn't effective anymore, right? Well, it still is effective, but listen, why would you leave money on the table if you can just put these couple of pieces together, right? So here's the problem. If you're still only sending cold emails by itself, right, you're missing about 70% of your total addressable attention, right? And that goes up as you introduce other channels. So if you want to send outreach on LinkedIn, send outreach on email, do voice AI, do texting, do direct mail, that all works great and continues to scale up that attention. Now, what most people miss is, what if you could create a system where they all work together? And that's how we're maximizing attention, authority building, trust, and converting at a higher percentage. So with cold email being only black and white text on a white background, it's only going to get you so far. And that's why statistically ads will always have a higher engagement rate, right? Because again, you're seeing it, you're hearing it, you're feeling it, or watching it, where email is just kind of text. You're just reading it in whatever emotion. It's like, when you're fighting with someone and you send a text message, you don't mean a certain way, but the other person reads it another certain way, right? You're always going to run into those scenarios. So you have to be smart with what you're working with. Now, expanding to other channels allow you to build, as I mentioned, more authority. And since you are coming through with more than just 1 to 3 just regular email attempts, right? So here's exactly how the system works. So internally, we built a truly unified outreach engine that sequences intelligently across 5 critical channels. Like I said, fluid in the motion is coming from the fact that all these work together. And when your message shows up in multiple times in the right context with perfect timing, I mean, it's like hitting the gold rush back in 49, right? So cold email, of course, you still stick to your foundation of personalized scripts, leveraging a high volume, no brainer, low risk offer, right? Then you can junction that with LinkedIn outreach, right? So sending connection requests with message sequences coordinated with positive email activity. Then on top of that, you throw in SMS touch points, right? So follow up over text if it's an okay channel to communicate on to get your AI on the phone call, which is then into the next step where you're prompting AI employees that know your offer and how to convert to speak to these people and effectively get X, Y, and Z goal, right? I'm pretty sure majority of us is to get them on a meeting, so that would be the end goal there, right? And using direct mail with handwritten notes and small gifts to reach high-value individuals, and I'll explain about that more next. So before I get into specifically the exact steps of the process, let me talk a little bit more about the system that has given us true unique selling propositions, right? So the real breakthrough was building our own internal stack, right? Not just tools, but building an entire AI-powered campaign generation system. Now, I'll preface this by saying that this does not happen overnight, right? We spent most of this year in development of these systems and sunk well over $50,000 into creating it, making sure it runs right, and making sure that it's fluid as in a operational standpoint, as in a team facing standpoint, and also as a client facing standpoint. So basically how the process works is like this. Our engine gets to work right from onboarding. So the minute that we receive the investment and the agreement is completed, the whole thing kicks off. When a client is onboarded, the entire process is automated up to their call. So it's setting up the infrastructure, letting the team know there's a new client, sending the client information, letting external agencies know that we need this, this, and this done. That all just automatically gets done. One big whoosh, just like that, a couple make modules, and then it's done. Then an AI agent is created that begins getting trained on their offer, case studies, client emotional journey, ICP, and sales process. I always tell our clients that I'll be canned with you. When you onboard, it's going to be a little bit extensive in terms of the information that you're going to provide us, but you do that up front so the rest of the relationship could work smoothly. And because we ask all the right questions up front, it already knocks a ton of time back to us that we would have spent trying to go chase and get the answers, right? When that person could sit down and answer it thoroughly, then forever we have it to reflect back on. I actually had someone just message me the other day ask me about that funnel. So just so you guys know what that funnel is when they pay, they get an HTML email from me. It's beautiful. It's really nice. It says, thanks for your investment. We've received it. You're good to go. Now, please complete these 2 steps down below. And then it explains how the entire onboarding process works in email. The 2 steps they need to do is 1, fill out the form. I use an Airtable form. So on Airtable, right? Again, I just ask all the questions and hook up automation so it communicates with the rest of the back end. Then the second thing is a Calendly link right to my team's calendar so they could book in their onboarding call when it works best for them. So that's how that process works. And NAN has been a major help in helping us put this whole thing together. NAN and Make has just been an incredible duo. And this agent that we are creating for each client will now be the center of the client by learning and remembering information about the client in general, future campaigns, inbox management, and analyzing results. So everything feeds into one unified campaign dashboard within Airtable where our client success managers can monitor activity and shift strategy in real time. And then clients can also view this from their client portal. Now, before I get into the exact steps here, to kind of just trace back a little bit on that process. So effectively, what we've done is this AI agent can now respond to every message that comes into their inbox. It can communicate with them via Slack on like simple questions like how long does warm-up take? Boom, it answers. If not, pings a team member. It will also memorize information. So when we use our campaign creation that I've set up in Airtable, I just enter the information, select the client ID, and it will begin to do the research and spit it back out to us. Now, at that simultaneous time, what we can do is basically upload, let's say, the Apollo link or lead list right into it, type in the campaign thesis and what we want done, and it'll do it all for us all the way up to putting it inside of Email Bison, Dulce, whatever setting tool you guys use. I use Email Bison. So it goes all the way up into that point, and all we got to do now is just hit launch, right? So that whole process is fluent, outputs incredible results, and gives it to the team for final review before we go ahead and launch it. Now, to get an idea of how that whole next step follows is just like this. But first, to answer the question, isn't this going over the top by spamming them? The answer is actually going to be no. And the reason why that is because the coordination of what we put together makes these campaigns feel human, not automated. That's the whole idea, right? Everyone's trying to beat automation, personalization, and X, Y, and Z. But listen, this system responds to prospect behavior across channels in real time. Like I said, this is all done through the power of this AI agent that we've set up or that gets created, right? We position it in a way where each message and touch point is providing value to a most likely to convert individual to get the right touch point to them without annoying them. So it would go like this, right? Step 1 would be email sent. So personalized cold email lands an inbox with a strong offer, right? You could whip out any interesting personalization aspect that you want to tell me, but I'll tell you straightforward that having a good offer is your bread and butter. That's what's going to make it work. Step 2 is positive interest, right? So once we generate the initial interest from email, we move on to the omnichannel outreach sequence. So they, in step 3, will get a LinkedIn connection. So by integrating our ESP to our client's LinkedIn account, we can send a connection request to now put a face and brand behind the message. Because remember, all the way up in cold email, you have just text and that's it. Now they get to see your name again, right? Assuming it's the same from the email. If not, then you can mix and match senders. But they see your face now. They can scrum and strew your LinkedIn that you have actually set up nice, set up properly, and looks good. And now they can see your brand and your history and posts and things like that. From this point on, we send them a text simultaneously to build familiarity on the connection that we just sent by addressing them with information from the email and asking if it's okay to communicate. I find this is a really important touch point because you never want to just text someone's personal phone and just be like, hey, I'm going to give you a call just shortly, because I'll be honest, what we did when we first tested it did not yield the best results. And I changed it to say, hey, this is me from the email just reaching out. I saw you were interested. I just wondering if we can have a quick chat just to hash out some details. And if not, that's totally cool. It won't bother you, right? So being respectful about it. And remember, the whole idea is going to go into my next touch point on the next slide on this is business. This is relationship building. And when you're trying to do it at scale, you're going to lose the touch points, right? You're going to lose the one-to-one connection, and it's ultimately going to get difficult, and people can normally sniff it from a mile away. So when you take it to where, hey, I'm addressing those points and I'm aware of those points, and we want to keep it very simple and smooth, then people begin to respect it instead of be against it. Because when they begin to respect it and make it so they see that you're not reaching out just on sending a million cold emails, we do, but you're emailing them with a little personalization with something that's actually helpful, you're interested, and then they're using multiple methods to keep in touch with you, right? So that is all very important. It now goes into, right, that follow-up system from that point on. So from developing and teaching AI to strategically maintain the contact with the prospect in the voice of our client, it continues to engage with or without human intervention, right? So this could go to the inbox manager. I typically follow up with them every 3 days, right? That's my normal touch point sequence. And it'll go anywhere between 5 to 10 or infinite depending on the offer, the cycle, but normally 5 to 10. That's email, right? So LinkedIn, we send about 3 messages. I don't ever send more than that. And call normally is about like 3 as well with 1 text, right? We don't want to, again, we don't want to spam them. If they're not replying, then they're not replying. We'll move on and spend our resources somewhere else. Now, this is something interesting that I've not seen people really touch upon, and that's a handwritten piece. So for high value individuals, we will send them a handwritten card expressing interest in connecting from our email, and we can mention that we sent them that over in a future conversation. Thank you. I'm glad you love it. We sunk so much time and energy to be one of the most insane value packed things you ever could get. I mean, I'm glad you're really enjoying it. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, yeah, I just got off the phone. I was actually just talking to one of my students in Agency Ignition. You don't know what Agency Ignition is? Oh, come here. Look. I just launched my biggest project of the year, Agency Ignition, set to release December 23rd, and it is a community for AI powered enthusiasts, outbound agency owners, and entrepreneurs who are looking to make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month with cold outreach specifically. So for only $397 a month, you get free access to 25 plus scrapers across so many different verticals like Built With, Store Leads, Clutch, Google My Business, Yellow Pages, Get Locka, goes on and on, TikTok, all the social medias. Get 50 plus hours of course material on cold outreach, scaling your company with personal branding, things like that. Exclusive membership discounts for 10 plus tools through our partnerships that we've secured. Over 5,000 of savings easily from those 3 weekly group coaching calls. You get entered into community of lead generation experts in any niche, plug and play tools like our real sales calls, VSL templates, landing page templates, AI employee templates, all the fast track that whole process of building things out and blah, 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 blah. A ton of other tools, 24/7 access to myself and more, and everything from our apprentice plan. Now, this is if you want to be a little more conservative. We do also have a $197 a month plan where you get access to our community, 1 weekly group coaching call, base access to the curriculum, access to all partnerships for leads, coaching, hiring, automations, inboxes, deliverability, limited time deals from our team, and personal help with your scripts and deliverability. Now, the choice is yours. There's no minimum commitment. We give a full refund, no questions asked. And I want you just to give it a try. That's all I ask. So you get a 7-day free trial. Click down below in the description to join the waitlist. The first 260 people to sign up get discounts from anywhere from free for life to 75% off, 90% off. So make sure to go check that down below. Enter yourself on that, and I'll see you in there. So the way that we do this is very, very simple. We actually walk it through a platform called Handwritten. And effectively, by leveraging their API, what we've done is load it up with Claude, connect it to our email campaigns to identify high-value individuals. So my biggest point, which again, I'm going to go into more detail in the next slide, is that when we want to scale, when we want to make a ton of money, it comes from getting clients. And in business, people really forget that relationship building and all the pieces that gets put into acquiring a client, right? Especially in today's world, it's so, I mean, I personally feel like these people glorify it to be that, hey, you email them and hop on a sales call at close, you know, I'm making 10K a month from you, right? I just don't think that's the case, right? And by doing this, it's something that I don't see many people doing, and it's just an overall really nice touch point to mention the conversation, send them a mail, you can mention it to them, and even attach a little gift. I normally throw in, never hurts, like a Starbucks gift card. That always is like my go-to. And if I have to spend $5, $10 to send a card and a gift card, and it results in a 4 or 5K a month client, that LTV is like 30, 40K. I mean, you do the math from there and you tell me, right? It's all numbers. It's all articulated in a way for it to make positive ROI sense. And step 7 is probably the most important of this whole thing, is that the smart pause is in play. So if they reply on one channel, all other follow-ups are automatically paused. If they answer on the phone and book a call on the phone, then no more LinkedIn, no more email. If they answer an email and book a call on the email, no more LinkedIn, no more phone calls. Same thing goes for LinkedIn, right? And this just allows it to not be awkward, right? If I book in a meeting over LinkedIn, we're still emailing them saying, hey, can you book a meeting? That looks bad on our part. All right? So again, this goes into my point here, where the result of this whole thing being that prospects see your name multiple times across different contexts before making a decision, right? Familiarity leads to trust. Trust leads to book calls. And the most forgotten thing, as I said, about this new business space is that it takes effort to build a relationship and get clients. I always tell my clients and prospects, if Zoom wasn't such a convenient thing for all of us, then we would be having this meeting in person over lunch. So don't be surprised if no one wants to spend 30 minutes out of their day to meet with you just because you sent them one email. All right? So now the results that we've actually seen from putting this whole thing together is as follows. So again, the strategy that goes into building each campaign from the ground up, again, based on their ICP, test positioning across channels, and tracking data obsessively. And never forget, your own numbers are your best friend. Can get results like these, right? We've seen a 25 to 30% higher booking rate, right? So these coordinated touch points have dramatically increased our responses in booking in general. And if you're doing 100 meetings a month, and now we're doing 130, right? And a close on average 20%, that's 6 new clients, right? Leads to faster lead to call cycles, massive show up improvement, because again, you're investing more into them. They're investing more into you. If you didn't watch my previous video, I showcased my entire pre-call funnel. It's at the top of the description. Go check that one out. Dramatically, basically almost guarantee a show up. And now you have higher authority because you're positioned as a leader who puts in that effort to a new business relationship. And again, this isn't about really automation. It's about building that omnichannel presence and systems that actually help convert these people. And I wish I had like a whole like back end to show you. It's really just a lot of code and everything on NAN, but I'll more than happy show you that exact process right here. So here you go. Basically, the email comes in and it stems from the positive reply. Now, once we get the positive reply, like I mentioned, they will get a reply from us within 5 to 10 minutes with their AI agent and then begin a 3-day email reply sequence. If need be, we will also send a handwritten card on for certain campaigns. Now, what we will also do is we'll give them that text and phone call. So the important thing about the text beforehand is, if you're not aware, if you don't have an Apple phone, or if you're just like me and have the Lively Flip, right, totally not sponsored, you will actually get a maybe underneath the text if you address your name in a text message prior to the call. So if I text you for the first time and saying, "Hey John, it's Alex. I just wanted to reach out and see if we're still good for our meeting for tomorrow," and I call you, it'll say maybe Alex underneath. And that actually has increased our pickup rates by 30%. So huge swing rate, right? Just in pickups alone, because now it's like, oh, do I know this person? Maybe it's someone I've talked to in the past, forgot to save their contact. From this point on, and again, we're using Synthflow AI, board member on Visionary AI, and we are partners with them, and incredible team. They do such a fantastic job. Support is amazing. I couldn't recommend them more. Checking if they're 9 to 5 is first thing, because I don't want to call them at like midnight. That'd be really embarrassing. And we double check that they don't have any do not disturb verification or tags on, and then we proceed with the call. Now, I normally do like 1 or 2 at the same time. I don't like to bombard it, but for this example, I showed 3. You can A and B test different voices. Statistically, like female American sounding always does a little bit better, right? And it could go down 2 pipes from here. First thing is we'll address they don't answer. So if they don't answer the phone, 2 things could happen. It could fail or go to voicemail. If it failed, then we could take that out of the cycle because it's either maybe the number's invalid or some other reason. If it goes to voicemail, we have the option to leave a voicemail drop, right? We can call them back in 24 hours from that point, call them back 19 hours after that, call them back 44 hours from there. So like I said, I would not do any more than 4. Sometimes I do 3, but I wouldn't do any more than 4. So I'm maximizing my attempts to go ahead and get them on the phone. And if they do answer, what happens is first I need to detect if they're active or inactive. So 10 seconds of basically what happens after they pick up. Some people might sit there and just hang up, and then it's marked as an inactive call. Or if it lasts longer than 10 seconds and they have a conversation, then it goes down into this process here. So the AI can understand and extract information from the call. So on top of looking for our specific criteria, like what do they do, how much are they, what's their budget, or where are they looking to buy a house, right? Any type of question you can imagine is extracted from that call, and you can use it as variables in, let's say, your CRM. It will categorize it as so. So basically, it will either be interested and they did book a call on your calendar, which it will read the time off your calendar, auto-suggest it to them, and book it automatically. So there's nothing that needs to be done, because guess what? You're calling from the email. So it already has the email for them, and it already has their calendar, so it just has to pitch time. Same thing goes for the inbox manager. Now, if they're interested and didn't book, then it marks that into the CRM and in our client portal for the client, and also let us know that, hey, they were interested, they didn't book, let's follow up with them, and we could see the summary of the call and the transcript of the call. Now, some people are busy. So if I pick up phone and be like, "Hey John, this sounds really good. I'm just out to lunch with my wife right now. Can you please call me back at like 3 p.m. tomorrow? That would be great." All right, sounds good, John. We'll give you a shout then. And at 3 p.m. tomorrow, guess who's getting a phone call? John, and it's from my AI, because guess what? My AI remembered that he said to call back at 3 p.m. and then he did. All right. So that's a huge point. Not interested. Hey, if they're not interested, they're not interested. That's a tag right there. Turn on do not disturb. And that's another tag that they could get as well. So that's the whole AI cycle. Now, the last touch point to reach upon is LinkedIn outreach. So first things first is I send them a connection request, and there's 2 different funnels they could go down. Now, I'll go down if they don't accept it. I will view their profile and will like one of their posts, view their profile again, like another one of their posts, and view their profile again, and then the sequence ends from there. Now, if they do accept it, this is where the fun gets kicked off. It sends them a message, "Hey John, do you remember our conversation over email about X, Y, and Z?" That simple. Like I said, just not reinventing the wheel, because this is a positive interest connection request. So we already had the conversation. Now we just need to follow up on that, right? So we send that to them, and they either reply or they don't reply. If they don't reply 2 days later, they get a new message from us that is providing value. So normally it's a follow-up on what the email was about and something that they could actually find useful that they would typically have to pay for. Now, same thing again goes 3 days later as like the last touch point, basically extend more value to them as in a final attempt to connect with them and to get them booked on the calendar. So with that being said, that's the entire funnel. Now, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, like how on earth can I do this myself? Don't worry, because I got you covered. And if you want this entire system that I showed you today built in your agency, running for you and getting sales opportunities, then go in the description below and book in a free strategy call with myself or one of my team members. Again, as far as I know, we're the only agency that is unified platform across all of these different channels. And on this call, we'll review your business, discuss acquisition strategies, and share the exact outreach ideas we'd use for you. And absolute worst case scenario, you walk away with invaluable advice on what to do. And best case, we partner up and we begin to fill your calendar with a series of new sales opportunities. That being said, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so very much, and I'll see you in the next one.